everyone, welcome to my channel all about biology, and this is Jyoti Verma. Today we are going to discuss about cyanide resistant respiration. So before discussing about the cyanide resistant respiration, you have to know about the electron transport chain. So I have made video on that topic also. If you have not seen it yet, you can go and see it from the playlist section. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about the cyanide resistant respiration. So cyanide resistant respiration is basically a kind of respiration that is taking place within the plants. It does not take place within the animals, it takes place within the plants. Okay, and it is a special type of mechanism that is taking place within the plants in response to certain inhibitors like the cyanide. So cyanide resistant respiration is basically a kind of respiration that follows an alternate route that is completely different from the normal route of the electron transport chain. So this route takes place specifically in the presence of certain inhibitors. Okay, like the cyanide, azide, etc. So when these inhibitors are present within the plant system, then they try to inhibit the electron transport chain. So we are going to discuss about the cyanide resistant respiration, that how the inhibitors like the cyanide, azide and different inhibitors are affecting the electron transport chain. Okay. So firstly I have made a diagram here, and this diagram basically indicates the electron transport chain in normal view, as well as it also indicates the cyanide resistant respiration. So firstly I want to tell you that this one is the inner membrane of the mitochondria in which the electron transport chain takes place. Then above to it is the intermembrane space within the mitochondria, and in the central portion of the mitochondria there is matrix. Okay, now we have certain set of complexes that are present within the inner membrane of the mitochondria. So these complexes are, first one is your complex 1, that is called as the NADH dehydrogenase complex. Second one is this complex is your second complex. Complex 2 is your succinate dehydrogenase complex. Next to it is your complex 3, that is cytochrome bC1 complex. Next to it is the complex 4, that is cytochrome oxidase complex, and the fifth one is the special one, that is your ATP synthase complex, that is very important for the synthesis of ATP. Okay, so now we are going to discuss about the whole concept. Firstly we have to discuss about the electron transport chain. What is happening in the electron transport chain? Firstly we will summarize through it, and then we will discuss about the cyanide resistant respiration. So what happens in this case, there are NADH and the FADH2. These NADH and the FADH2 are formed in the Krebs cycle as well as in the glycolysis process. So what happens in this case, the NADH as well as the FADH2 that were formed in the Krebs cycle are used in the electron transport chain. Okay, they undergo oxidation. There is oxidation of the NADH as well as the FADH2. So when there is oxidation of the NADH gets converted into NAD, and in this process some electrons are released that are transferred through different electron carriers. This is the normal electron transport chain that is happening under normal conditions within the plants. So the electrons from the NADH are transferred firstly to the ubiquinone. Okay, when this ubiquinone accepts electrons, it gets converted into ubiquinol. And within the normal cases, within the normal conditions, when the plant is functioning normally, there are no inhibitors, then in that case that ubiquinol transfers the electron to the complex 3, Then these electrons are carried by the cytochrome C. Cytochrome C can carry only a single electron at a time. It will carry that electron and it will transfer that electron to the complex 4, and now that electron is ultimately accepted by the oxygen. So in the case of electron transport chain, the ultimate electron acceptor is your oxygen. Okay. And during the process of this electron transfer, what is happening? Some of the protons are pumped out from the matrix into the intermembrane space. So in this case, these protons have been pumped out from the complexes. So in the case of oxidation of NADH, 4 protons are pumped out from the complex 1, 4 protons are pumped out from the complex 3, and 2 protons are pumped out from the complex 4. Okay, now what happens? Due to the presence of these protons within the intermembrane space, these protons need to be utilized for the generation of energy. And what happens in this case? Your ATP synthase complex come into existence and it will pump inside these protons into the matrix, and while pumping these protons, it will lead to the formation of ATP. That's why it is called as the ATP synthase complex, because it is leading to the formation of ATP. Okay, so that is happening within the normal electron transport chain. However, there are certain kinds of inhibitors that are trying to inhibit the electron transport chain, but the electron transport chain will not stop at all and it will follow an alternate route, a different route which is completely different from the normal ones. That is your cyanide resistant respiration. So firstly, we are going to talk about the different types of inhibitors that inhibit the complexes. So the complex 1 can be inhibited by rotenone. Okay. Next, the complex 2, the succinate dehydrogenase complex, can be inhibited by malonate. I am giving you only a single example of the inhibitor. There are more than single inhibitor in this case. Okay. So I am giving you only a single name of the inhibitor so that it could be made easy. Okay. So for complex 1, rotenone is the inhibitor that can inhibit the complex 1, that can inhibit the functioning of the complex 1. Malonate is the inhibitor that can inhibit the functioning of the complex 2. Next, for complex 3, antimycin A is the inhibitor that can inhibit the functioning of complex 3, and your complex 4, that is your cytochrome oxidase complex, can be inhibited by certain inhibitors like the cyanide, sodium azide, carbon monoxide, and many more. Okay. Next is your ATP synthase complex that can be inhibited by the oligomycin also. So in this case, as we are talking about the cyanide resistant respiration, so we will basically focus on the cyanide. So cyanide is an inhibitor that is inhibiting the complex 4, that is your cytochrome oxidase complex of the electron transport chain. Now, when this cyanide is inhibiting the complex 4 of the electron transport chain, so this complex 4 cannot function properly. It cannot transfer the electrons, it cannot carry the electrons, and it cannot transfer the electrons to the oxygen. So plant follows an alternate route for this. So what happens in this case? The plant deviates from the normal route of the electron transfer and it follows an alternate route. So what is that route? That route is your cyanide resistant respiration. So in this case, when there is presence of an inhibitor like the cyanide, so what is happening in this case? Another enzyme is coming into existence, that is your alternative oxidase, also called as the OX. This alternative oxidase is encoded by the nuclear genome. Okay, so what happens in this case? The electrons from the NADH are transferred to the ubiquinone. Then the ubiquinone gets converted into the ubiquinol, and now due to the presence of cyanide, electrons cannot be further transferred to the complex 3 or to the complex 4. So an alternative pathway and different pathway is used here. The electrons from the ubiquinol are transferred to the alternative oxidase in this case. Okay, and now this alternative oxidase is transferring the electrons to the oxygen and ultimately leading to the formation of water. However, in this case, in the case of alternative oxidase, the two complexes, complex 3 and complex 4, will not work at all. This normal process gets blocked, due to which there is no pumping of protons. This process will not take place in the presence of cyanide. Okay, so in the case of cyanide resistant respiration, only complex 1 is working, that is pumping 4 protons outside from the matrix into the intermembrane space. And as we all have discussed earlier in our previous videos, that from 4 protons there will be formation of 1 ATP. So in the case of cyanide resistant respiration, there will be formation of 1 ATP and lots of energy that is present, that can be utilized, but it is not utilized in this process, and this energy is liberated in the form of heat. So in the case of cyanide resistant respiration, due to the presence of inhibitor, that is your cyanide, azide or any other kind of inhibitor that is inhibiting your complex 4, so in such a situation a different type of route is followed, in which electrons from the ubiquinol are accepted by the alternative oxidase, and in that case the electrons from the alternative oxidase or the OX are accepted by oxygen, that will give rise to water, and ultimately in this process there is generation of 1 ATP and lots of energy is lost as heat. Okay, this alternative oxidase is encoded by the nuclear genome. It is encoded by the genes of the nucleus. This alternative oxidase is resistant to the cyanide. There is no effect of cyanide on the alternative oxidase, and that's why it is also called as cyanide resistant alternative oxidase. Now we are going to discuss about a different condition in which there are two inhibitors used at the same time. So suppose the complex 4 has been blocked by the cyanide, and at the same time complex 1 has been blocked by the rotenone. Then what will happen in such a situation? So in this case, as the complex 1 has now been blocked by the rotenone, so it will not accept electrons, or it will not undergo the oxidation of NADH. So for this condition, for this situation, the mitochondrial inner membrane has some different matrix oriented NADPH dehydrogenase and external NADPH dehydrogenase. So these are the structures that are present attached to the inner membrane, and these are called as the NADPH dehydrogenase. These are resistant to the rotenone. There will be no effect of rotenone on these complexes. So two NADPH dehydrogenase complexes are toward the matrix site, and two NADPH dehydrogenase complexes are towards the are facing towards the intermembrane space. So these are called as the external NADPH dehydrogenase, and these are called as the matrix oriented NADPH dehydrogenase. Okay, now what is this NADPH? Why this P is in bracket? So this NADPH denotes that these dehydrogenases can oxidize both NADH as well as NADPH. Okay, so these can oxidize both NADH and NADPH. That's why these are named as NADPH dehydrogenase. And these two are oriented towards the matrix side of the membrane. That's why these are called as matrix oriented NADPH dehydrogenase. However, these two are towards the outer side. These are mentioned as external NADPH dehydrogenase. Okay, so these will function only when the complex 1 is blocked by some inhibitor like the rotenone. So the NADPH dehydrogenase towards the inner side, towards the matrix side, will oxidize the NADH which were formed earlier in the Krebs cycle, because the Krebs cycle takes place in the matrix of the mitochondria. However, these NADH dehydrogenase are for oxidizing the NADH that were formed in the glycolysis. The glycolysis is taking place towards the cytosol outside of the mitochondria. So these two are for the oxidation of the NADH as well as for the NADPH. Okay. Now what is happening in this case? Your complex 1 is blocked by rotenone. At the same time your complex 4 has been blocked by the cyanide. What is happening in this case? The oxidation of the NADH is taking place by means of NADPH dehydrogenase, both present towards the matrix side as well as located externally. Now the electrons from the oxidation of these NADH and NADPH are transferred directly to the ubiquinone. Okay. Now, as your complex 4 is also blocked at the same time, in this case, the ubiquinol will ultimately transfer its electron to the alternative oxidase, and in this case, the alternative oxidase will transfer the electrons to the oxygen that will ultimately lead to the formation of water. Now, in this case, as the complex 3 is not working, complex 4 has been blocked by the cyanide, complex 1 has been blocked by the rotenone. So these three complexes are the sites for pumping protons. When these sites have been blocked by the inhibitors, then there will be no pumping of protons, and when there will be no pumping of protons, there will not be any generation of ATP in this case. So when complex 4 is blocked by cyanide and complex 1 is blocked by rotenone, then in this case there will be no generation of ATP, only there is liberation of large amount of heat, and the benefit of this process is only for the recycling of the NAD. This NAD is further used for the Krebs cycle, and this NAD is further used for the glycolysis. So there is recycling of the NAD in this process. So that is all about the cyanide resistant respiration. We have discussed about both the conditions that can take place. First condition is your when the complex 4 has been inhibited by cyanide, and the second condition is your when both the complexes, complex 1 has been inhibited by rotenone and complex 4 has been inhibited by cyanide. Then what will happen in such situations? We have discussed about that. Okay. So that is all about the cyanide resistant respiration. If you like the video, just subscribe to my channel for further updates. Thank you so much.